All right, this time I want to talk about floor removal. Listen, I'm not saying that I'm gonna be the best father in the world, best dad in the world, but when it comes to punishment, instead of beating your kids, if they ever bother you, maybe just buy a bus and have them pull up the rubber in the floor, because that's real bad stuff. I'm not saying that I'm discouraged about the project by any means, but it's hard work. I thought the seats were the hard part, but be warned, if you start to do this, the rubber, that's what makes you sweat. So I'm super excited about the bus, and I'm happy that my dad's in town and can help. That's what the noise you hear in the background, but it's hot out here. It's about 100 degrees in the summer, the time of South Georgia. A lot of humidity, a lot of heat, and a lot of sweat, a lot of bugs. But hey, we're living the dream, so it's a good time. We are part of so many Skoolie groups and just bus conversion sites that talk about, how do I get the floor up? How do I get the rubber floor up? And I will say that I was actually nervous going into our build about getting the seats out. And knowing what I know now, I would rather get seats out every day of my life than get the rubber floor up. But there's only a handful of seats and there's a whole lot of floor. So who am I kidding? There's a lot of seats too. But the floor, that was the thing that really got the best of us. It was the first thing that really got us early on and made us think, man, what in the world? What have we gotten ourselves into? And apparently we're not alone in this, and a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people think that. But all things considered, there were a few things that we were gonna do, and as the day progressed, we realized this is not gonna happen. And a lot of that was, there was a linoleum flooring remover that my dad had. It's like a big blade on a stick, basically. And just be careful, man. The perils of building a Skoolie are pretty ridiculous. And using that method, and the more frustrated we got, and the more frustrated I got a little weird and got a little rough. And the more I slammed that thing into the rubber, trying to separate it from the metal floor, it started to hurt. And I actually still have an injury to my thumb. I guess I got a nerve damage thing happening right about here. I don't know what triggers it, but periodically the end of my thumb just goes numb, and it started the day that I was slamming the bejesus out of the rubber floor with this linoleum remover. And that was getting me almost nowhere. I think I did about 6 square feet, toward the back of the bus, and it just wasn't super great. At the time that we thought about quitting, I keep saying we, but it was 100% me. I was done. I was over this project. And then my dad came out of nowhere. I'm doing it, a fun fact about Bussedamove is we're building it at my farm that I grew up on, my parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles. A lot of families still live here, and it's 250 miles from where I actually live. So we've started doing what I call the Bussedamove 500, because we'll come down after my work week, and on Thursday night, we'll drive 250 miles and wake up and do 2 good days on the bus and then drive home so I can go back to work. And it's taxing. But back to the floor. My dad came to the door of the bus and he's like, son, have you ever seen this? And I was like, man, I have not, but that looks awesome. And so we developed a system pretty quickly. I mean, it still took a good while, but there's a thing about power tools where you gotta let them do the work. And I would rather sit there and hold this guy in my hand all day than and let it chew up the floor than be using my own strength to try to scrape it. So after several failed attempts with the linoleum scraper and several hours wasted, we actually developed a system where we would take a pattern, like a little bit at a time, and we would cut out maybe 5 square feet, and we just run a line, across it, and then subdivide it. And then it was a lot like pulling up bacon, because you'd wiggle it under there, and as it separates from the floor, you'll just peel up little strips. I don't know if we were lucky or not, but our bus just had the rubber straight on the metal. A lot of people run into trouble. Maybe your bus has it, I don't know. But a lot of people have a plywood subfloor, and it gets, just weird things happen, and a lot of people that have the plywood have a lot of trouble. And we had a lot of trouble, but we ultimately figured it out. And I mean, that's the thing about Skoolie life. There's really not a manual. Like, there's a few people that have gone before to do it, but a lot of it is just figuring out how to tackle one problem and then going on to another problem. And it's just problem after problem, but it's cool. It stretches your mind. It makes you think and be a little creative. It's a very technical thing that involves a lot of know-how, but there's a lot of winging it. If you can creatively wing it, you can build a Skoolie. What I know now is if this thing works so well, there's something just like this that people use to pull up linoleum or tile or something like that. It's like a little push behind. It looks like a push mower, but it has a blade that's like, I don't know, like 3 feet wide or something. And it slides under, and it's all, I think it's hydraulic, maybe electric, I don't know. But given how well this guy worked, I would say that thing, if you can find yourself a tool rental place, you could probably find one of those and it would make, I don't know, it would do the whole job in just a few minutes, which is awesome. And if we ever do another one, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna certainly try that first. If that doesn't work, I don't know what we'll do, but probably just this again. But it's 100%, this is the thing that saved us. This is a Ryobi, I don't know how you say it. If you know how you say it, comment down there and let me know. Because we'll be using it a lot and I'd rather call it by the right name. I would have thought there would be a little more rust, but when we got our rubber floor up, there was hardly any rust at all. There was a little bit at the top of the stair box, but other than that, it was pretty cool. And there's just shiny metal. And we went back with a wire brush on the angle grinders and polished the floor, and we'll get ready to seal it and put some epoxy down or something, and or paint, just paint, and get it sealed up so we can make sure it doesn't rust when we put down our floor. And that's the way to go, but we're gonna go back over the top of that with some insulation and some wooden subfloor, and then ultimately we're gonna tile it. So can't wait to make a video about that. We'll show you as soon as we do. And it should work out, it should be cool. I'm sharing some insight that we learned along the way, and I hope that it helps. And if you think it helps, then I'd love to hear that you think it helps. And I'd like to hear how it helps you exactly on your bus. And I would prefer that you would hit the subscribe button. We'd love to be able to talk to you more. And if you'd like the video also, that would certainly help. We always love it when people like the video. If you like it, like it. So that's all. Thanks, guys.